Hair getting nappy. What's up, y'all? Welcome. Shout out to Devante, Dreamchild, Tillis, my friend since he was like down here. We was both snotty nose, big head. I've been knowing him like all my life. So he had given me a video request. He saw the video when I was out there with the youngsters, right? And he said, talk about the video between generational gaps, about how we was raised and how we had to deal with stuff like that, and folks being older than us in the way they treated us. And I'm like, you know what? That's a good topic. So this one is about the treatment between generations and generations. This video is about that. All right. Now, what I noticed is that people forget about commonality, right? And then some folks, they forget about how we're all products of our environment. What I mean by that is that we're all humans. And I noticed that every generation blames another generation for something, even though we're all contemporaries. The word contemporary means to exist at the same time. We're all here on earth. But listen, here's the problem, right? No matter what you think about people, whether it's positive or negative, whether you feel pity for somebody, sympathy, or anger or jealousy, whether you're happy for somebody, it doesn't matter. Remember that every single person on this earth is somebody else's child. Commonality, humanity, all right? Now, it depends on where you're raised, your country, what kind of resources you have access to, that will influence the way one person treats another, especially across generations. Because I noticed that when I was younger, I was happier. So were the rest of us. You know why? Because all we had to do was go to school, play sports, flirt with girls, hang out with friends, listen to your mama. Pretty much just don't get in trouble and you get to do what you want. But older folks, they had other things to think about, like rent, food, all the other stuff. Who are they as a person? We weren't thinking about that, you know? So I want to say that off top. Now, the reason why I had my attitude that I had is because I actually looked for good. I actually tried to gravitate towards good. I used to want to be a good person. You know, I still care about being a good person. Now, I'm not talking about being nice. I'm talking about doing what's right. I care about that. I don't care about pleasing people. So the lessons that I tried to learn, no, hold on. The lessons that were taught to me that I took seriously, it came from other people that I thought were good people. It could have been their vibe. It could have been their speech. It's usually one of those, because I don't be tripping too much about looks unless you're really ugly or really fat. I don't care too much about looks. You got to be really ugly or really fat in order for me to be like, ugh, get away from me. You know what I'm saying? So the OGs who taught me about certain things and the lessons that I carried with me, these were people that I felt were good people. And I felt they sincerely cared about me. I didn't have a lot of that. So those are the lessons that I remember. It was my counselors from school, because I used to behave bad in middle school. My counselors at school, they took time to teach me about behavior in life. They took time to explain to me that when I go to high school, I can't be acting certain ways. And because I felt like they were good people and they showed me that, that's why I learned from them. And I want to teach that to other people, okay? And then on the streets with OGs and other folks. I remember one time, there was this one dude, he was in good shape because he had just got out of prison, but I'm like 15, 16 years old, right? And then he had came up to the local basketball court. It was an outside court where we was hooping at. And he had came up there and he was stronger than me. He got buckets and everything else, but I was a shooter. And plus I was younger and I played basketball every day. So I ended up busting and we won the game. And he started talking to me after the game. He like, man, you got good game and all that. You seem like a solid dude. And he was telling me like, man, stay out the streets, man. Just come up here and keep hooping. And I'm like, I know, man, because man, when I'm from Minnesota, everybody was in the game. I wasn't. I hooped. I knew it. But to hear him tell me like, yeah, you doing the right thing. Don't be going out there hanging out with these cats. Don't be hanging around those kind of females. You come to the court and hoop and you go home. So I tell youngsters that. Same thing. Because I be up here at the court with youngsters. I'm like, look, don't do that. Forget that. Go to school, finish school, come to the court, hoop, go home. Don't be hanging out with them cats. Don't be getting high. Don't be doing none of that. Because somebody told that to me. Okay, I didn't always have that example. Now, another thing that I want to talk about is that when people blame other generations, it's just a matter of respect. Most people feel like the other generation is crossing some sort of line on some way. For example, when I was younger, it was people like that I just mentioned who did good, and I believe they were good. But for the most part, I wasn't trying to hear older folks because somebody was trying to act like your daddy, somebody trying to act like your mama, trying to act like your auntie. There's a lot of old people. When people are older than you, they always trying to talk down to you. That's why us youngsters, and that's why people who are younger than me right now, they ain't trying to hear me. They ain't trying to hear nobody else because folks is always trying to act like they could treat you however they want to treat you because they're older than you. They be talking to you crazy as a mug. You can't even be a little bit disrespectful to an older person, but they can basically treat you like a dog. I mean that literally. You know how people talk to dogs? Like, you better do this. That's how people talk to animals. You better do that. When you're young, people talk to you like that. And they wonder, like, why don't the young folks listen to us? Because y'all disrespectful. A lot of older people are way more disrespectful than the younger people. The younger people are disrespectful because they don't know nothing. They don't care. But older folks is always trying to ego trip on somebody. And I dealt with that when I was a youngster. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I took certain lessons from certain people. And that's what I try to do now, and because I'm older. And I'm going to be real with you. When I see younger folks, I don't have any kids, but I know that I know that me being the kind of man that I am, I have value. I know things. I don't know enough to brag about, but I'm not a fool. I can teach people about life because I've been through things, and I'm not a liar. So when I see younger cats out here, I see nephews. And I have real nephews. I have real nieces. And I done told my nieces and nephews, because I play with them a lot, but I told them, like, look, I'm not here to be your friend and play with you all the time. I'm your teacher. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about. It's about teaching. When people talk about a legacy, they talk about passing the torch. You know what I'm saying? When they talk about things like that, like handing it down, they're talking about teaching. It's just that we live in a world that's based on materialism. So when people say things, people automatically assume it has to have something to do with money or women or some sort of social status. But you know what the most important thing that you got in this world? It's your words. Teach somebody. That's why when I see younger folks, they don't be trying to hear what I'm talking about, but I try to teach them. You know why? Because I only had a few people to teach me. The kind of people that taught me the lessons that helped me become the man I am today, I wish I had nothing but that, but I only had a few cases of it. And guess where I wasn't getting it? I wasn't getting it from home. I wasn't. Not my mama. I didn't grow up with a father. But my mama, let's not talk about her. She is something else. Like, listen, back to the teaching stuff. Look at a lot of older folks. They always want to sit up here and talk about younger folks, but they don't want to teach younger folks. Younger folks want to talk about older folks, but older folks don't want to listen. Now, before you give up, because you're not obligated to do any of this. I'm just saying, I feel like I need to because of where I've been in my life. You got to understand why. Like, why won't younger folks listen to older folks? Come on. And then we want to talk about why don't older folks want to teach younger folks? Let's start with the first one. Younger folks don't want to listen to older folks because older folks don't be giving younger folks no freedom to make decisions. That's why. I'm telling you. And I could be wrong about any of this, but I'm telling you. I'm not making this stuff up. Older folks, they talk to you as if you better do what they say, and that's it. They don't even want to tell you why something is. Older folks just want to tell you what to do, but they don't want to give you no knowledge, no understanding, no wisdom. They just want to say, do this, don't do that. And then a lot of older folks, they set terrible examples. You know what I'm saying? Just picture it. I know you saw this before. Picture let me see. Picture this right here. Hey, picture this. Look at the shape of that. Imagine this being a blunt. Or imagine this being a cigarette, right? Now imagine me being my age talking to a youngster like, yo, man, youngster, you better not smoke no cigarettes, man. You know what I'm saying? These cigarettes, they ain't no good for you. The youngster already knows that. Oh, that's another thing. Old folks is always trying to tell you something that you already know. We want to know deeper things. We don't want to we already know that. But anywho, back to me smoking my little cigarette. Yeah, man, you better not smoke these cigarettes, man. I'm telling you, man, if I had never started, why don't you quit? Oh, man, I've been smoking since I was 10 years old. I've been smoking since I was 11. But when's the last time you tried to quit, old timer? Oh, man, I can't quit. It's just better not to start. I already know that. But you setting a bad example, though. We can get it. We get it. You're smoking, so you telling us not to smoke because you know how bad it is, but you're still setting a bad example. You know what I'm saying? Doing something and tell somebody else not to do it, that's all you can say. Like, okay, this person is telling me not to do it because they are doing it. That's still hypocritical. That's one reason why younger folks don't want to listen to older folks. All right, and then let's move on to why older folks don't want to teach younger folks. Older folks don't want to teach younger folks because of the same thing. It's pretty much, I'm about to say the exact opposite of what I just said. Younger folks, their attention span isn't there. Like when you try to teach these younger folks, they be listening. Some of them take it in, but they be really thinking about, what am I supposed to do with this? Because all they thinking about is, what is the rest of the younger folks doing? What are these other youngsters doing? These other youngsters, they out here, they having sex, they getting high, they going to parties. And you up here trying to tell this youngster about life and how to be safe when they get older. But he like, they ain't gonna help me get no pussy at this party I'm trying to go to. Like straight up, I'm just being real with y'all, man. I'm just being real with y'all. When older folks say stuff to younger folks is thinking like, what am I supposed to do with that? You know what I'm saying? So when you tell a youngster something, he think like, shoot, how my homeboy supposed to be proud of me if I do that? That's what they be thinking. It's a huge disconnect between understanding and maturity. And I'm telling you, the difference between a youngster writing an old timer off or an old timer writing a youngster off is it's respect. You know what I'm saying? It's because the age difference, people lack respect for each other. All right. And then another thing I want to talk about is that I'm only 29, right? But like I said, when I see these youngsters, I think of them as my nephews. So I talk to them, you know. But they grow up on the internet. I didn't grow up on the internet like that. I was born in 91, you know what I'm saying? From 2000 to about 2010, that's when I was outside, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, me being a youngster. You know what I'm saying? Because I turned, well, I was still outside, but I'm talking about like outside hanging around, being in high school. I was class of 2010, all right? Now, what I wanted to say is that we had video games, we had the internet. Mostly we had a lot of DVDs, movies, and CDs and stuff like that. But we still went outside. We had the internet and we used it a lot. But these youngsters these days, they are living in the internet. These youngsters are not living in reality. They grow up watching nothing but TV. Then they get handheld devices and they always watching something. They get their ideas from whatever it is that they're watching on the internet. And then naturally, as a person, we all do this. I'm saying all because we all do this. We all, I don't care. We all do this because I know somebody gonna be like, oh, don't say all. I'm saying all. We all go out looking for someone or something that we can identify with. We look for things to be that is agreeable. All right. So these youngsters, they be living in the internet. Then they go out and they deal with people who live in the internet like them and they don't have to go far. So they're looking for things to agree with them. But in the real world, those scripts, those video games and stuff that these youngsters are watching all day, where they get their ideas, their thoughts and their behaviors from, that don't happen in the real world unless they're around other people who grew up like them inside the internet. Okay? And then when they deal with people who live in real life, who aren't raised by the internet, whose thoughts, ideas, and way of being didn't come from virtual reality. They cross paths with somebody who actually got their ideas, thoughts, and beings from real reality, and they be so shook. People don't be knowing what to do. But that's the difference between generations. The generation before me, my parents, right? My aunties, my uncles, and all that, right? They had music and stuff, right? They had video cameras and stuff like that. But that was a generation that grew up in the 70s and 80s and stuff like that. So they was doing boom boxes and stuff like that. They were going to diners. They were hanging out at parks and rec centers and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? So they didn't grow up on the internet, so they grew up around other actual people. They read books. Newspaper was important. You get what I'm saying? Cable. Regular cable. Imagine that. Regular cable. Not Hulu, not Netflix, not YouTube, not none of that. So there's a big disconnection because each generation lived within, hold on. Each generation has their own form of reality within that generation. You know what I'm saying? this is this is the difference of times. So old folks are socially conditioned by their peers and the way things were when they were our age or the youngsters' age. And because that's how you grew up, you're going to have a harder time understanding how other people are operating because you were socially conditioned during a certain time. So when these old timers talk about these youngsters, when they were 14, the things they was doing when they was 14 and the way that they lived, it is totally and completely different from these 14-year-olds today. Even me, I'm 29 years old, so that was 15 years ago. Even me, what I was doing and what most of us was doing, hanging outside, hanging at the rec center and all that, these youngsters, they don't do that. Man, a lot of schools don't even have gym class no more. We used to look forward to gym class. Even people who just walked around the gym. Because you know why? Because you wasn't in math, you wasn't in science, and you couldn't have your phone out. For real, you had to sneak on your phone. You get written up. You know what I'm saying? The teacher would jump on the phone in front of the class and call your parents and embarrass you if you was on the phone. You know what I'm saying? If the teacher took your phone, you have to wait till after school. You have to come all the way to that teacher's class, get your phone back, and still catch the bus. If you miss the bus, your mama, your daddy were going to come pick you up. You're like, hey, mama and daddy, you call up like, hey, mom, hey, dad, I missed the bus after school. Your mom and dad like, yo, how'd you miss the bus after school? Oh, I was on my phone and the teacher took it and I had to go to her class and get the phone, and then all the buses left. Walk home. For real. Not today. For real. If something like that happened today, the student probably get on the phone, but hey, mom, dad, the teacher's trying to take my phone. Oh, ain't no teacher taking my child phone. You don't pay the bill. Listen, that's enough for this video. Like, that's enough for this video. That's enough for this video. But it's about social conditioning. It's about a lack of respect because of age differences, okay? So whatever age that you was living in within your generation is not the same as this newer generation. The internet has a big influence on the way people think and behave. Okay? That's why there's a generational gap of understanding between us as humans. With that being said, hey, appreciate appreciate the whatchamacallit. Appreciate the video. The video request. I appreciate that, man. That was good looking out. I didn't think I had this much to say about it, but I've been complaining about stuff like this because I'm serious. I've been noticing it. I never knew I had this much to say about it, but I've been noticing that every generation blames another generation. And I'm telling you, because I'm 29 years old, people who are my age, when you're born in the early 90s, you are the in-between now. You know what I'm saying? The early 90s, we're the in-between. But shoot, every generation blames another generation for something. But everybody is somebody else's kid. Yeah. With that being said, that is the reason why there's a generational gap of understanding. With that being said, outro.